Congratulations on the film. I saw it a couple days ago. It's really, really great.
I saw it, but it was in Venice, and I gotten there and then done like 17 hours of press and then the red carpet. So I literally, it was like my vision was. So I'm still sort of digesting it. I'm going to see it tonight, which will probably help me.
Did you come straight here from Venice?
Not straight. I stopped in New York, but pretty much it's been like...
I do this, but it's different people every time, whereas
Yeah,
you're just
yeah.
answering the same... Do you like this sort of environment, or is it...
Well, I mean, it's always nicer if people like the movie, you know. I feel like for everybody, for the journalists, and it depends really. But it's a little bit, this is a hard film to talk about for me because I wasn't, I'm playing the wife who, it's ambiguous what she knew. For Michael, he's taking on like this, he is the Iceman, he's the face on the poster, he is this man that there's all this footage. I couldn't look at any of that or read any research because it was all about his crimes, and because my character was like in denial, I think she did know to a certain extent.
Yeah, that's one of my questions.
Yeah, I think she did. I think she just was one of those people, like, we all do it, but not to this extent.
Yeah.
She was just in such a deep state of denial. I wouldn't have played it the same if I, like that, the stuff available, the footage, and would not have helped me because it was all about that other life he had, the other side of him. So I, in a sense, used my own going into denial, like mirrored the character. I was like, I'm making this little movie with Michael Shannon and we have family, and I took out all the pages that I wasn't in and scratched out all the stuff I wasn't supposed to know, but yet I knew on the subconscious level. But I think for her to get to a place where she could even acknowledge that this is a little suspect, that, this guy he's a businessman, he doesn't have an office or a secretary, and this is the era of that, a phone number, like, it's just too... So I think she knew, but she just chose not to, because that would make her have to question her own responsibility and her own role as mother.
And working with Michael, it's an intense performance and an intense role. Was that?
Yeah.
How was it? What was it like bouncing off that?
Most every moment in the film, I play opposite him. So, which was a real shame because how great was he, Chris?
Yeah.
Stunning. Would have loved to have worked with him, or Ray too. But Michael was great. And to, it really, he demands that you are present in the moment, which is what acting is. And it's what we can tend to get a little lazy about it, You learn your lines, and it becomes a job sometimes if you've been doing it a real long time. And so it was very sort of like this great wake-up call in a way, like, it's like, whoa, because you don't know what he's going to do. So your reaction is completely real, and in the moment it's like someone like grabbing you and like yanking you into this moment that is reality, but not. It's hard to explain,
I get what you're saying.
But it was a very exciting. It was challenging because I hadn't done that in a while, and I am used to like rehearsing things and blocking things and being prepared in a different way, and I was a little afraid, I think, but once I saw that the result, the sort of spontaneity that it created, I was like, wow, that's great.
And what drew you to it to begin with? Like, considering that you did have hesitations about certain elements of it.
I did. I was drawn. Well, I wanted to work with Michael. And, he is one of those guys who comes along every once in a while, and so you don't get a lot of, it's like, oh, I may not get a chance in the future, so I sort of, jumped at that. But also, it was the denial. I felt like I just hadn't really explored that. I felt like maybe, I might be wrong, but, a lot of my other roles were characters that were searching for the truth, or truth of who they are, or their lives, or whatever. They're just searching. And this woman was the opposite. She was avoiding it. So that was appealing. I was definitely reluctant because of the violence. I'm very sensitive to that. I've purposely sort of stayed away from it, not watching it so much if it's done really well, like, Godfather and Goodfellas and, all the great things like that. But being a part of it, I get a little bit scared of, it being romanticized or exploited, or, you know what I mean? It's just something these are real people, and they are really, when I was younger, unfortunately, there was knew of a family that lost their daughter, and I was around that my early 20s, and I when you are around that kind of tangible grief, and I don't mean to parallel that with this in any way, but you realize it's I can't even describe it. It's like coming out of their pores. It's like grief. It's pain. And even though these are mob guys or bad, that he's killing,
there's still family behind those people.
Yeah, exactly. So I feel like sometimes in film, it doesn't. I don't want to parallel them, because that's a very personal, and I'm very close to that family still, and they have nothing to do with this film. The point I'm trying to make is, when that happened, it changed my view of seeing violent, death. It's just. And so it was a different genre, and I was reluctant, but at the same time, it did happen, and I found this woman. I mean, I know this is Michael's movie, and it's people are fascinated with Richard Kuklinski, but I actually found her a little bit more fascinating. That who are the wives of the people? That, you know what I mean? Like Bernie Madoff's wife. Who? What? You know what I mean? Who are the people who choose to be with them? So I found that to be very interesting. But I hope that I hope that it shows sort of the violence, and I hope it shows it in a way that doesn't people,
I think that it does. I mean, there's a very fine line to when it gets exploitative and unnecessary, but when it's a real story, sometimes it's.
I mean, the truth is, and I'm going to be contradicting probably Ariel, which I don't mean to do, but there's nothing heroic or romantic about this guy. Michael Shannon brought a humanity to him, but come on. This guy is a monster, and yes, he also had a family that he loved, but it doesn't excuse what he did. And I think in order to make the film, they had to humanize him, and Ariel had to sort of love this guy in a weird way, and in a weird way not like me, because she claimed to have been abused, which is actually, I think, true, but he's like doesn't think, like he's living in denial of her. I don't. He's great, but you know what I mean.
You have a different ownership over her than he does.
Yes, and I have, I don't know. I just think, it's. I think sometimes it's sometimes territory that scares you is also can be good. It can, it was difficult. And I'm not going to lie and say it was fun and a barrel of laughs and an easy thing, but it was an experience that, I am grateful for, because I got to explore that, and it's weird. I'm sorry.
No, it's but I guess on a different note, I mean, when you do watch movies, what kind of movies do you watch? Like, if you were here and you got to see some movies, what would you be into seeing?
Oh gosh, I love older movies so much, and I'm kind of out of the loop right now of what's what's coming out and who's here. I mean, they've been just like...
Well, you're in a bubble here.
What?
You're in a bubble here.
Yeah, I know. But I just, saw another actress, and I was like, what? It's just weird.
Yeah. Well, on a different note then, No, it's okay. Absolutely fine. You're 4 years old, although you look incredible. And I love that scene in the movie where you're playing basically a 19-year-old or whatever, and you pull it off so well.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Got it. Yeah. I remember Ariel was on the phone, when he called me, and I met him a year before, and I was going to be coming down. He was talking about doing some Benjamin Buttons type of thing I was like, well, why don't we just try with makeup and hair to look younger, because I think, does it?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay,
but you've been doing this for 25, 26 years.
Yeah.
If you could, this is such a standard question, but if you could go back knowing what you know now, what would you tell, 18-year-old Winona Ryder about? Or something that you really wish you knew then that you know now?
Oh, man. I don't know, because if I knew then what I know now, it's just I've loved making movies. I feel like I've been so lucky because I've gotten to be in some movies that are my favorite movies, regardless of that I'm in them, like Heathers and just really special things. So I wouldn't go back, but then I wouldn't, if I were 18 right now, I wouldn't become an actress. I know that much because of the way it's just a different business.
Yeah,
and instant access,
surveillance is insane.
It's crazy, and I don't even understand or know, because I don't go on the internet so much. And I don't know this reality. I wouldn't sign up. Back then, I did 6 movies before I ever did an interview. Literally.
Yeah.
There was no... there was 3 men. There was people, life, and time. There wasn't... And then there was and people was more Princess Diana. It was more it was just a different time. So... Now it's everybody knows, how much people are getting paid, what the movies, the mystery's gone, but also just the pressure. Look, when you're a kid and you're an adolescent, some of the kids I came up with, their whole families were uprooted, moved to LA, and then there's all the pressures on this kid who's going through puberty and they like you, then you're told you're not. They don't like you. It's a lot of pressure for a kid.
Yeah.
And then I can't imagine. And then I was very lucky because Tim Burton really gave me a career, because I don't think Hollywood would have known what to do with me. If I hadn't done Beetlejuice, I think I would have just probably gone back to high school and I just don't think they would. I wasn't pretty. I was my first movie was Lucas. Was the girl that like, I was not. And then Beetlejuice, I was like, but then Heathers, which they didn't want me for, and I had to they told I wasn't pretty enough. I had to go and go to a mall and get my makeup done at the counter. And I just begged them, and then that was the kind of turning point, because that was the first movie where I played someone that was attractive, and then that led to stuff. But it was very different. There wasn't certainly with me, there was paparazzi. There wasn't. What's that channel or
E?
No, it's
TMZ.
I was say TMJ. I think it's the.
Oh, either way, but.
I haven't seen it, but I hear it literally follows people around, and there's I know some friends of mine that it's really good criminal stuff.
Absolutely.
And I just, it's scary to me. I like my life so much. I like it in San Francisco. I have my family, my friends. It's equally as important for me to be a good friend and a good sister and a good daughter. I'm very close to my family and my friends, and I don't want. It became all about me when I was sort of at the height in the '90s,
and those paparazzi would be following you around if they were there then.
Yeah, and but people don't think about it. My brothers and my sister, and my friends, they're just as important. You know what I mean? It's all about you, and then, your friends are going through a breakup or a hard time or struggling with something, and you just have to. You have to make a life for yourself, so it's not all about this. And yet you have to, life's short, so if you're going to spend months doing something, it's got to be pretty special for me now. And I'm very happy to enter my Baby Jane years. And my, hopefully, segue into the Ruth Gordon.
Well, as a fan, I look forward to that era so much.
Oh, that's so sweet.
Do you mind if I take a quick photo?
Yeah.